Hey guys, so as you know, the new Urban Decay Smoky palette came out around 3 days ago in the UK, and I did order it straight away, but it did come 2 days late. So I thought I would do a kind of swatch and review video for you guys. It's kind of going to be a first impressions as well, because I have got the eye look on my eyes today, which I just kind of tried out, and it's the first time I've used it. And yeah, before I talk too much, let's just get straight into the video. So I thought I would first show you an overview of the palette. I've just kind of got them all stacked here. So this is what it looks like. Sorry for the reflection of my camera. And it's really, really nice. It's very plasticky and it's kind of see-through, as you can see in the back, all of the shades compared to the other palettes, which are kind of obviously velvet and then they went onto the metal. So opening up, it has the same big mirror. I still haven't taken off the kind of protective strip yet. And this is a overview of the colours, so I don't know if I can actually read them very well, but you guys will be able to see what they are. Before I swatch them, I'm going to really quickly just kind of compare them to the older palettes, because I know these are expensive. This was £38. Watch the original palette and the 2 and the 3, because I did that in another one of my videos. On the top we have the original Naked palette, and down below is the Smoky palette. So I kind of think, I know this is kind of hip pan, but this colour is very similar to this one. The blue, the gunmetal blue there, is very similar to Slanted. On the camera it looks a lot more blue than it actually is. So as you can see, the Smoky palette is definitely a lot more cool tone. They do have warm tones this side and a couple this side, but the original Naked palette was a lot more warm until the very end, whereas this one is a lot more cool. So this is an initial outlook of the original palette on the top and the Smoky on the bottom. So on the top now we have the Naked 2, and on the bottom is the Smoky. I can't really see too many major similarities. The tones are very different in both of these. There's possibly the odd colour that are kind of similar, but I would say generally if you're going to go with either of these palettes, then you just have to go for which one you prefer, because they are very different. You do have a black and a highlight colour in both, but they have different tones in them. And yeah, so this is the Naked 2 and this is the Smoky on the bottom. Now we have the Naked 3 on the top and the Smoky on the bottom. Again, I don't really see too many similarities. The highlight colours are quite similar in both the palettes, but I can't say there's any real similarity. There's very rosy tones in the Naked 3, and obviously more smokier colours and a broader range of colours in the Smoky one. So this is a good overview of all of the palette. I just want to show you the brush that it comes with. So with each of the Naked palettes you get a brush. It did start with just a single eyeshadow brush, and they made them all kind of double-ended. And this is the one that I used earlier, and it just says Urban Decay Naked Smoky on the actual brush. And you get a kind of blending brush on this side, which is kind of like the one on the Naked 3 or the Naked 2. And the end of this is really nice, because it's very easy to smoke your colour out. It's a very dense brush, and I use this in my outer V because I don't have a brush that's kind of like this shape. So I really like this brush. I definitely would just buy this brush if it was by itself anyway. So I'm just going to go ahead and swatch the colours, and I will show you what they are all named. Another thing that came with the palette is this kind of guide of how to use it. So you do kind of have a couple of looks. There's the iconic Smoky Eye, Smoky Reality Star, Smoky Cat and Everyday Smoky. So they kind of show you how to use the different colours if you obviously don't really know where to begin with all of them, because there are quite a lot of them, which again is really useful. I don't believe they did this with the other palettes, so that's always really nice to have. So I've swatched these all along my arm, and I will go through the colours for you. This one is High, which is on the far left, and this is a really nice one to swatch. The next one along was Dirty Sweet, again really nice, soft and silky. And the next one along was Radar, and I did find this one a bit harder to swatch. It wasn't as silky as the others, and I did have to put a lot more on to kind of get the colour, so the consistency was not the same for Radar. The next one is Armour. It was kind of had a lot of fallout because it's got a lot of glitter in it, but it's such a nice colour. Then we have Slanted, which is the next one along, again really nice and silky. Then we have Dagger, which kind of looks really navy on the camera, but it's not too navy in the actual palette, but it just comes off as a really nice colour. And next along we have Black Market, and it's a very strong black colour. It's not got too much shimmer in it. There is a slight sheen, but I wouldn't call it a shimmer. Next along there is Smolder, which again I think is a really nice colour for maybe blending out or putting in the outer V. Then we have Password, which is a really nice colour as well. I think this one was a bit harder to swatch because it was on my thumb, so excuse the fact that it looks like a even bigger swatch. Then we have Whiskey, Combust and 13, which are all the matte colours, the last four: Password, Whiskey, Combust and 13. These were all super silky, and as you can see, I'm really impressed with 13 because the colour is so vibrant considering it's a very pale colour, and I think Combust is going to be a really nice one for blending. It kind of blends into my skin a bit, but it is kind of a mauvey colour. But here is another overview of all of the colours. I think all of them show up really well, except I did have the slight issue with Radar, which didn't really seem to be as silky as the rest. Some are more silky than others, more so the matte ones are the most silky, but Radar in the centre there was a bit hard to kind of blend out. But here's an overview. I'll see if I can show you them next to the actual palette like that. So I'm actually really impressed with the palette. I do really love this palette. I would recommend it if you guys are in the market for a palette like this. If you don't have the other Naked palettes, I hope that my kind of comparison will help you with deciding which colours you want. However, I do recommend this one because they do have a lot of darker colours, which a lot of the other Naked palettes kind of don't. They just have a couple of darker colours. But if you're in the market for a kind of palette that looks good on all eye colours, then I think this one is a really good one. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this review. I hope I've kind of answered all your questions and been able to show you these swatches well enough. Apart from that, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you have any suggestions or comments you want to leave me for future videos, then leave that in the comments down below. Give this video a big like and I will see you in my next one. Bye guys.